Welcome into Under the Bus, the podcast that celebrates sports, but also throws a lot of people under the bus. How do we do that? I don't know.
It's fun.
Curry Kirkpatrick, Sports Illustrated legend, is joining us. Rich Basirico, Hall of Fame basketball coach, is joining us. We're going to talk some basketball on this show. First time we've done that in a while. Huh? You're right up your alley. We're going to start, though, with college football. The Final Four is set unless something wacky happens. Do we all agree that, it's the four undefeated teams if they all win?
Yeah, well, which one is in most danger?
Which one's in danger, yeah.
This week, I think,
Washington.
Florida State plays Louisville, but Washington plays Oregon.
Yeah.
Of course, they played earlier in the season in the game of the year for me.
Right.
And, they have the two Heisman candidates, Nix for Oregon, Penix Jr. for
Right.
Washington, and I think Nix outplayed Penix in the first game.
Without a
Oregon
doubt.
should have won the game.
And I think he's a better quarterback, and I think he's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
Could be.
Here's the interesting. Washington's undefeated, ranked third in the country, and Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite in the game.
Yeah, more than a touchdown underdog.
Right.
And you're undefeated.
People saw the first game.
Well,
And,
true. And they're playing
but
so
they're
much
both
better,
piling
too.
up So much numbers. Who are your
Watch out for those Huskies.
Speaking of Penix and Nix, who are your four Heisman guys to go to New York? Those two?
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Your guy from...
The kid from LSU.
And the guy from LSU, Jaden, whatever his name is.
How about Harrison? How about the wide receiver from Ohio
Harrison,
State?
Harrison, my fourth, the Ohio State receiver.
He's tough.
He had a great game against me.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. So,
Here's the upsets.
but now,
Florida State's going to get beat by Louisville.
I think they
I
might.
do. And I think So I think two of those top four.
Hey, what
could
about
beat
Georgia?
Alabama could beat
Oregon,
Georgia.
If Oregon beats Washington, they're in.
Correct.
They've had such a terrific
But
season.
honestly, think about it. Georgia being number one could get beat by Alabama.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Absolutely.
Number two is Michigan. They're playing Iowa. The problem with Iowa is they can't score.
Can't score.
They can't score.
They're as bad as the Iowa caucuses, which haven't scored.
It's been a while.
2008, Obama, 15 years ago. Iowa scored.
So Michigan will probably stay right there. But Florida State and Washington, I think, will be upset. I do. I really do.
And Georgia's in danger, too.
So if Georgia loses, are they out?
I think so.
Wow.
I do.
Well, what do you think they'll do?
From one to out.
The fourth pick, if we agree, Oregon's in, Michigan's in. What happens if Florida State and Alabama lose? Georgia loses.
Well, then
think Alabama's in.
I don't. That's a tough one because you got.
I think Alabama's in, and I think Texas goes in.
Yeah, well, that's
what
they win. Texas. It wins. They have to win, obviously. Yeah.
Conference.
But,
it's not the Southwest Conference anymore either, really.
No. It's
long time. I'm so old.
It's going to be the Big 16 next year. Is Ohio State back in somehow?
Well,
that's a tough one because they don't play. So how do you get in
that
by not playing?
That may be the best thing is not to
play. I know, but isn't that kind of crazy when you think about it? They don't play and they get in.
Can we talk about the Michigan-Ohio State game?
Sure.
Because, and Harbaugh is going to be back now. He was out for that game. But I don't know. Every Michigan-Ohio State game every year, to me, is just kind of a snooze fest. It's the same thing every year. Except the last couple of years, Michigan ran it up on them. But this year, it just doesn't seem...
You didn't like the game? I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
You didn't, I consider a game a good game if you don't know who's going to win.
Right.
Till the end. And we didn't until the end.
Well, that's true.
How does the coach at Ohio State not find a way to get the ball to Harrison down the stretch?
Did you really think Ohio State had a chance to win?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Sure.
I never thought they were going to win.
Okay.
They always do something to lose this game.
Well, it's only been they won 15 out of 16 until they lost the last three.
And everybody's on Ryan Day now to get rid of him. Well, he's only lost 3 games in the Big Ten. He's 43-0 or something in the Big Ten, except for Ohio State.
So, but he's 1-5 against top 10 teams.
Yeah. He's
well. The rivalry is so great, and we always talk about the rivalry. It goes back to Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler, and the great line Woody had when he had a 50-point lead on Michigan, and he said went for 2. He said, "Why'd you go for 2?"
Because I
couldn't go for 3.
That's right.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
Schembechler and Woody Hayes loved each other.
Yes, they did.
Schembechler spoke at Woody's funeral. Yeah. These two guys,
I don't think they like each other
Harbaugh
much.
hate each other.
Yeah.
When Day won the first game that he played against Ohio State, against Michigan. He came out and said, no, Harbaugh, who had lost, said Day acts like a guy that was born on third base and hit a triple.
Right.
That's kind of nasty.
Oh, they will get on each other. And remember, Harbaugh lost the first 3 times, didn't he, against Ohio State? So
do you give him credit for this win? He wasn't there.
Yeah, I think so. That's the question I had for you guys.
Yeah.
What do you do? What does Michigan do with Sharon Moore?
Sharon Moore, no relation to Mary Tyler Moore, except this is the same guy. He wept like a baby after the first, game that he won. He was
very emotional.
You know what? I might too.
Camera, and he cried and cried and cried. Come on, this is our leader. Come on, Moore. Is Harbaugh?
I think they got to do something for him, because, and actually almost say, Harbaugh, you want to go to the NFL?
He's
Fine.
going. He's going.
Okay. Then you got to lock this guy up, because he's at the top of everybody's list.
Well, everybody says Harbaugh took his suspension like a man. No, he didn't. He went to court. He went to all these courts, and he found out they had the goods on him, and so he folded his tent.
Yeah.
I call him Slimy Jim. I think that he's in the NBA. He's in
NFL for sure next year.
Or the NBA, whatever.
Yeah, he could be in the NBA.
It's the NFL, Curry, NFL.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Alabama-Auburn game.
I just want one more thing.
Sure.
Yeah. He's never admitted he did anything wrong.
Well, he never will.
He's always said he knew nothing about this, and Michigan has never said anything that we've done anything wrong. But there's video of the guy Stallions, who was his guy that stole signs. There's video of Stallions standing on the sideline next to Harbaugh, waving his arms.
Yeah.
And Slimy Jim says he knew nothing about it. Okay, we can go to the next.
Well, I agree with you, Curry. If Michigan didn't do anything wrong, why'd they fold the tent so quick when it was time to go to court? I mean, that tells everything.
One more thing about Harbaugh. I just have a great line I was going to say. Because in during the last 3 weeks, one of his press conferences, he likened himself to William Wallace. He said, "We're pushing on." Who's the great Scottish warrior in the movie Braveheart?
Okay.
Mel Gibson, five Oscars.
Right.
But the real William Wallace was captured by King Edward, and he was paraded nude through the streets of London, out of the Tower of London, and they drawed and quartered him. They beheaded him and all. They just scattered his remains all over the city. I hope Iowa beats this guy when they scatter his remains all over Indianapolis.
Defense wins. You never know. They could pull off. You just can't score.
The way Iowa pulled out that Nebraska game, I mean, out of nowhere. Even
Did you actually watch Iowa?
I did. I watched the end of the Iowa game because it was just so. I thought, gee, they're going to lose, and they're going to blow a game to Nebraska, and they somehow got out of it. We haven't even. We got to talk about the Alabama-Auburn game. One other quick coach note: does Mike Elko succeed at Texas A&M where Jimbo Fisher couldn't?
How's that talking about Alabama-Auburn?
We're going to get to that. I said I want one more coach note. We were talking.
No, I think he's a good coach. I like what he's done at Duke. He was an assistant at Texas A&M for 3 years, so there's a connection there. I'm not a big fan of Fisher, so I think he'll go in and do a much better job. Much better job.
Fisher's getting what, $70 million?
Yeah. $70 million to sit at the beach. Yeah. We're going to invite him to Hilton Head and come sit on our beach for $70 million.
I don't get that much, and I sit at the beach all the time.
See, there you go. All right, Alabama-Auburn, real quick. I mean,
well, come on.
We haven't thrown anybody under a bus yet.
Well, I'm throwing the bus.
There
it's
you
fourth
go.
and goal.
Yeah.
He's got 31 yards to go, and he sends 2 guys after the quarterback. The receiver's got to get to the end zone. It's 30 yards. Come after the quarterback. So, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time. I never understand about the NFL if it's...
Well, they couldn't stop Jalen Miller all game, though. Running around.
But they
had a spy.
beating him.
They had a spy there.
Yeah, spies. They had 2 guys rushing.
And one spy
in the middle, and they had 6 defenders on the goal line.
But he's got to go 30 yards to get to the end zone. Come after the quarterback. To me, for a major college coach to make that mistake is horrendous. It's unacceptable.
Well,
it's unacceptable.
His punt returner, right, that fumbled the punt that gave Alabama.
Right. Yes.
His punt returner wasn't his first string punt returner. He thought the first string, this is Freeze,
Okay.
Freeze of Auburn, thought his main punt returner was in. He wasn't even in the game. The guy that fumbled wasn't their main punt
Well,
returner.
why wasn't he in the
Who
game?
knows? That's coaching. Or that's not.
Well, that's
Remember when we used to play in the backyard and you had to count one Mississippi,
Yeah,
two
sure.
Mississippi? Well, they counted 12 Mississippi states before, and they still couldn't get him.
But you can't let anybody. If you, we could stand back that long and find somebody open.
Well, but
That's why I think.
But it was a great throw. And it was a great
Oh, it was a great play. Yeah.
That's why I think they're going to scare
And they're
Georgia.
calling it-
They're going to be right there.
in Alabama.
Yeah, I think they could beat them.
Yeah.
And then you still got to get Georgia in, don't you? You got to put them both in.
You might.
Here we go.
If it's
If it's close,
28-26,
Right.
a field goal wins at the end, you still got to leave Georgia in, right? If Alabama wins a close
that's what
game,
I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know.
Alabama
I think
may
they
get
could do
out.
it, yeah.
Maybe still be out even if they beat Georgia.
Well, I think what happens
They're
with the other
calling
teams.
They're calling that play the Nick Six now.
The Nick
Because
Six.
of course, Nick Saban, the Nictator, he said,
The
he said, you know, it's a lot of luck, but after the game, but he said we practice that play every Friday.
There you go.
But one of his players said, "Yeah, but in practice, we let the guy catch it." Alabama player said that.
Maybe somebody from Auburn let him catch it. I don't know.
Well, you know, they have the end of the game where they prepare teams
Yeah.
for those kind of plays.
Yeah.
How about defensively at the end of the game? What do you do defensively at the game to defend that?
Well, and
That's
how
you should be
about-
practicing that too.
Well, you know, it was the 10th anniversary
of the kick six. Yeah.
kick six, where Saban kicked a field goal
Right.
from 57
And he ran it
short, and
back.
the guy ran it all the way
Yeah.
back. Reese Davis on
Yep.
ESPN said that was the great. He's who lives on
Mm-hmm.
exaggeration. Said that was the greatest play in the history of college football. Wait a minute. Doug Flutie with the pass.
Flutie was good.
Vince Young running it in against Southern Cal to win the national
was good.
championship for Texas. And I got one.
Yeah.
How about the Stanford band?
Yeah, that
Yes,
was
that's
Yeah,
still
right.
one of the
that's the
old
best.
plays.
Yeah,
that's still
that's
the
the
greatest.
best.
Yeah.
Play. They
That is the
Stanford band. I got
sure.
a couple trivia. Who was the quarterback for Stanford when Cal ran through their band
Elway.
to win the game? You are correct, sir.
There we go.
John Elway.
Yeah.
Who was
Ended up losing the game.
the kicker? Who
Fo-
kicked a field goal to make it 2019 to give Stanford the win? Except
Except they
Cal.
didn't.
Who was the kicker?
For Stanford. Wow. I don't follow Stanford
Leroy
kickers.
Jethro Gibbs
From
from NCIS, better known as Mark Harmon.
no.
Mark Harmon.
No.
Was the
We're going to take a break and settle that. Mark Harmon was the quarterback at UCLA.
Well, who am I thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
But then also,
The portal wasn't open then.
you have the wrong guy.
You got the
You
wrong
need to go
guy.
back to Chapel Hill.
You got the wrong guy. Hey, we're going to talk to the NFL. We're going to talk about that right after we take a quick break. This is Under the Bus. We welcome you back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. All right, we've swept college football under the bus. Let's do the same thing now to the NFL. Is Philly beatable?
Yes, definitely.
Just because they've had to rally in the second
they've
half of
rallied
the last four wins?
They've had a
Exactly.
lot.
They don't have the knockout punch.
They've had a lot of rallies,
Which is great, which shows they're a very good team. They're an excellent team. Yeah, but I do think they can get beat for sure. And Dallas is
I want to
playing
go
well.
the other way. Philly's excellent, but half the NFL is unwatchable.
It's
I
pretty
mean, 16 teams, 20
bad
teams,
stuff.
even go to 20 teams. They're unwatchable. They're awful. That game Monday night, the Bears and the
I
Vikings.
didn't watch it.
The
That's how
Vikings
unwatchable
quarterback,
it
the
was. I
Vikings
didn't.
quarterback Dobbs, who's saving the Vikings, threw 4 interceptions. Right, Rich?
4. Absolutely.
And Fields for the Bears fumbled the ball twice in the fourth quarter, and they still won.
12 to
Come
10.
on. Come on
I was
now.
born. It's like the Giants game.
49ers. Oh, yeah, the Giants. Let's not even go there. 49ers maybe this weekend, though, goes to Philly. Is anybody hotter than the 49ers?
That should be a good game.
That
Very
should be a good game. And the one team that might be hotter than them is that team we threw under the bus about 8 weeks ago.
Denver?
Denver.
Yeah.
They
Well,
gave up
that's amazing
70. They've
points.
given up 80 total in the 5 games
Since-
they played since
Give
then.
it 70
Great,
points.
great
That good number? You like
Stat.
that?
Great stat,
I give
man.
Peter King.
That's
gets
great
that.
stat.
Peter King gets credit for that one. I picked that one up from him.
Well, I got one for you.
Yeah.
Fields,
Yeah.
who is the Bears quarterback.
Yes.
Bears are going to have the number 1 draft choice and number 4 draft choice.
Yes.
So the question is, are they going to keep Fields or are they going to get rid of him? A lot of people love Fields and say he just doesn't have anybody behind him. But Fields has 35 fumbles in 35 games. Come on, Rich.
That's a lot of turnover.
Do you draft Caleb Williams first?
No,
from
because
Southern Cal.
They think of quarterback as the answer. Think about the best quarterbacks in the NFL
Go
today.
get a
Here
tackle
we
at
go.
1 and a tackle at 4.
Yeah.
Or
And
Harrison.
get Harrison.
Or get
Harrison,
Harrison.
the receiver from Ohio State.
You can't win without an offensive line.
I think he'll be drafted
Think of your top quarterbacks in the
that's-
NFL
that's-
right now,
that's
and
what-
see where they were drafted.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts was 53rd pick overall. Lamar Jackson, 32nd overall. Wow. Patrick Mahomes was 10th overall.
He's
and
got 'em
everybody,
all.
and
He's
everybody
got 'em
wants
all.
to pick first pick. Got to be a quarterback. Got to be a quarterback. How
Brock
many?
Purdy was the last guy in the entire
Right.
draft.
Yeah.
How about Sam Darnold was 3rd pick overall. Zach Wilson was 2.
How about Tom Brady? 6th round?
6.
Sixth round.
How about your boy from North Carolina, Mitch Trubisky?
Trubisky? Third,
Second overall, and Patrick
Well,
Mahomes
he's had a
was
great
10th.
career, though. Trubisky's had a great career.
Yeah, sitting on the bench, he's had a great career. Yeah, exactly. He's got
Come on, how many
splints
teams
out
has
of
he
his-
been with? He's
you
only
know
been
what?
with 2 teams,
Oh my God!
right?
How about Johnny Manziel? Where's he?
Where's he?
Where's he?
So all these guys,
He's a
we got to get a quarterback.
he's a
so you know,
Texas
all
A&M
these coaches
kinda-
are getting fired. How about the GMs that make these decisions on
Or the
these
scouts.
quarterbacks?
Get a new
the
scouting
scouts, too.
staff.
Frank Reich. I mean, his quarterback, I think that quarterback is still going to be good in Carolina if he gets a line.
Right. You gotta have a
Somebody in
line,
front of-
Bob.
he's,
You gotta have a
he's
line.
going down.
He's awful small,
4
though.
or 5 times a game he's going
How about Barkley, who's considered one of the better running backs, without an offensive line? One game they had no yards rushing at halftime. The team had 0 yards
That's
rushing.
your boy,
at halftime.
Barkley.
Right, but without an offensive
Where was
line.
he drafted? He was drafted really high.
Oh, he was
right?
like, I think,
Second
3rd
or third.
overall.
Yeah.
Overall. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
none of the NFL interests me unless Taylor Swift is around. And of course,
And
she hadn't been
we
around.
had to get an update.
Yeah, she hadn't
on
been around for a couple weeks. I don't know what's happening. She's in Argentina
Is that
or
why we haven't
Brazil.
done a show in a couple of weeks?
And,
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. Taylor's
If
driving our
Tay's-
bus too.
If Tay's gone, we're gone. If Tay's gone, we're gone.
Okay,
but
they're
you
in
know
Green Bay.
what does interest me?
Kansas City's in Green Bay this week. You can't get even the private plane from Argentina to Green Bay,
No.
can you? So
It's Mahomes' first time in Green Bay.
wow,
You know that?
Wow.
I think that's right.
that could be.
But I get all these things wrong.
No, you might have got that.
But Kelsey hasn't played well recently, has he? I mean, he's compared to what he normally, how he plays.
Nobody
He's
in
had-
Kansas City has played as well recently as
Well,
as
in
we're
that
used to
Philadelphia
seeing.
game, he dropped. He
Right.
fumbled the ball. He fumbled the
He's
game
distracted.
away.
He's
because
distracted.
if Taylor wasn't there, he
Right.
fumbled the game away.
So we throwing him under the bus?
Yeah, absolutely.
Under the bus.
Kelsey under the bus.
Can I say I'm interested in the NFL and the celebrations though. That's interests me because these games every week are such dog games. These teams are dogs, but C.J. Stroud, quarterback for Houston, who's going to be Rookie of the Year, he had a great one Sunday. That he lined up he scores the ball. He's in the end zone. He lines up his guys like they're in a course line, and he goes and he punches the guy out, and the guy just falls down. And they were
What's that from?
replicating
Yes.
a scene from a movie called Baby Boy. This movie was a classic in 2001 or 2001, 3 months before C.J. Stroud was born.
How do you know
So-
he did after that movie?
I mean-
how do you know it was that movie? Did he say? Did he come out and say it was?
No, I just read it. Oh well, yeah, I think he said after the
oh,
game.
he
He
did?
said after the game.
Curry remembers the
But
movie.
but you know who was in that movie is your boy Snoop Dogg, and it was about
He's not-
it was
Is
about
he
a
the one
coming.
who got punched or
It was
threw
called
the
Baby
punch?
Boy. It was about coming of age in this black family, but Snoop Dogg was in it. So I just want to say, my
Speaking of coming of age,
my favorite,
yeah, go ahead.
my favorite celebration. This young receiver, who's a great receiver, Zay Flowers for the Ravens.
Right.
He caught a great touchdown pass. He caught 2 touchdowns. I think he got a running touchdown. The first
See, he
running.
watches the NFL. See,
Well, the first touchdown he did, he gets in the end zone and a couple guys get behind him, and he throws his name is Zay Flowers.
Yes.
So Tay Flowers. So he throws a wedding bouquet over his head, and the guys are all scrambling to catch the bouquet. I mean, that's great. But he went to the sideline, and Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson said, what was that all about? He didn't understand it.
Right.
And Flowers explained it to him, and Jackson just rolled his eyes. Like, but so the second celebration was he scored a soccer penalty goal, like they were lined up as a penalty, and he kicked the ball in a soccer game. And Lamar Jackson liked that one.
He liked that one.
See, that's what your entertainment is for the NFL.
That's
right
what I
there.
mean.
There you
Get the red
that
zone
and Taylor
on the TV
Swift in the
and
box.
wait for them to
Now if they just
score,
score some more.
and then you could see what their
Yep.
celebration
Then
is.
Taylor Swift in the box. That's all I watch.
I want to real quickly throw the owner of the Carolina Panthers under the bus, David Tepper. He has now, the guy who is, Chris Tabor is going to coach them the rest of the year.
Who is he?
I don't know who he is.
Was he assistant coach?
Yeah, he's one of the assistants. He is the 6th coach this guy's had, and he bought the team 4 years ago.
Wow.
6-4.
6-4, and he owns the soccer team in Charlotte. They've been playing for 2 years, and they've been through 2 coaches.
Is that right?
So he got into all of this by owning a piece of the Steelers. He's seen it done right, and even though the Steelers finally fired an assistant, but they never fired the head coach.
He also squelched on a deal to build their big headquarters outside of Charlotte, and he never did that.
No,
cost a whole bunch of people.
That's because he's paying
a
all
whole
these
bunch
coaches
of money.
off.
Yeah.
He's
What's his
paying all
name?
these
Tepper?
coaches.
David Tepper. Yeah,
Think how much he owes all these guys.
Tepid, I think. He's tepid.
A lot of money.
Owns a lot of people, and he'll be paying Jim Harbaugh next year.
I think Harbaugh's going to go to the Bears.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
think Jim Harbaugh's
he's
going
gonna-
to the Bears.
But the Bears have to lose a few more games.
They will.
Okay.
We're talking the
But
Bears
it's warmer. It's warmer weather in Charlotte though for Harbaugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to leave a little extra time for basketball, so we'll take the break right here. This is Under the Bus. Basketball coming up next, especially
All right.
college hoop.
like
the boys are ready to go wild. Welcome back to Under the Bus, the podcast that celebrates sports but throws a lot of people under the bus. We have done a lot of that.
We like that.
Already on this show. We're going to do it some more because we're going to start talking college hoops, which you guys, Curry has houses that were built on college basketball. Rich has trophies from college basketball.
Well, he has
I got
more.
nothing from college basketball.
He has it all right
But,
there.
yeah,
He's in
but-
the Hall of Fame.
Well,
You were just in the Bahamas watching college basketball?
Yeah, watching college basketball.
Right.
They race to Atlantis. That's one of the 2 big tournaments they have during Thanksgiving. They have one in Maui. Of course, they had to play it in Honolulu this year,
Right.
because of the terrible fires in Maui. But I just want to say, a lot of people say, even these TV pundits say, I won't mention any names. Mike Wilbon says that college basketball doesn't start until March Madness, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Because you call this November neurosis. I mean, the Maui Classic had 4 of the top 10 teams in the country. All 4 were ranked or were predicted to win their conference. I mean, Purdue, Marquette, Kansas, and give me the other one. Tennessee.
Right.
Not to mention
Wilbon.
Gonzaga
Yeah.
and Syracuse
Yeah.
and UCLA were also in the Maui Classic. When these big name teams play each other prior to the conference, they are huge games. People should watch how much these guys go after it.
Yeah.
I mean, they really want.
Oh, they're great tournaments. I enjoy watching them.
And
very
great
much so.
games. They've had some of the great games in history in the Maui Classic.
Yeah.
Let me modify Wilbon. All right, I'm going to back him. I'm going to take his side a little bit.
No, go ahead.
Basketball doesn't start. Pro basketball and college basketball doesn't start till Christmas. After Christmas,
Wrong.
nothing
Wrong.
matters.
Well, you didn't watch the
Nothing
Thanksgiving
matters.
tournaments.
I didn't
That's
watch
why
the Thanksgiving tournaments
get bothered by this.
because it doesn't matter.
It
How many
does
of those,
matter.
How many of those 4 teams
does matter.
that were predicted to win their conference? How many of them will?
I think all of them
Let's
will.
see. We'll
I
see.
think
We'll
all of them
see.
will. And
We'll see.
it doesn't matter. Kansas lost and dropped from number 1, and Purdue won and became number 1.
Number one, they never
That
remember
never-
what
that
you do
doesn't
in
ma- I know,
November.
that doesn't matter. That
Well,
doesn't-
that's true, but who you beat during November when they do the seeding at the end.
Matters.
It does matter.
They're quad
really
one
does.
wins. Bob Donners.
Quad one.
Are you an NBA guy over a
No,
college guy?
I know, and the same thing for the NBA. Nothing
Oh, no,
matters.
NBA
NBA
well,
doesn't start.
NBA's
Yeah, well, NBA to me doesn't start till the playoffs.
I don't watch into the playoffs.
I don't watch NBA till the playoffs.
garbage.
I mean, no, it's
NBA's garbage.
It matters toward the end.
It really is.
It's when you get
When
closer
teams
to
are winning by, the other night, the Knicks were down 9 points with 4 minutes to go and come back and win. I mean, you're an NBA player. How do you let these teams come back? You're up 20, 25 points in the fourth quarter and let teams come back and win. Where's your
How
pride?
about LeBron this last week? Passes Kareem for the most minutes played in the NBA in career. I mean, that's a nice little thing.
I'm
His
yawning.
team got
I'm yawning.
beat. His team got beat
By
worse
42.
than any LeBron team has ever been beat
in that same game.
in the same game.
Oh, I love it. Isaiah, that's an NBA stat. Mr. Statman did it again. Let me talk about the Maui Classic because I've been there also, and the games used to be so good. They're played in the Lahaina Civic Center, which has really soft rims, so there was a lot of shots go in. There were a lot of great shots go in that, but they didn't play there this year. They played in Honolulu because of the fires, and there was a lot of rock fights. Shots weren't going in. But in the Kansas,
Can't they loosen the rims there to make it, a little more
well,
conducive?
they probably could, but I don't. It's
Bring
it's
the
like
rims in from Lahaina?
it's also like the pros play exhibitions there. So the court has all these lines for 3-point lines and NBA lines, and they were all confused. I mean, they didn't shoot very well. But in the Kansas, the game that Kansas played against, who was it? Oh, Marquette. McCollum, which is one of the good Panthers players, he went after Shaka Smart. He's like jawing after game. And Shaka went right down the sidelines, and they're going to fight. Shaka Smart, the coach, he wants to fight him. They had to set him back, and then Bill Self got involved. And after the game, Self said that Shaka Smart was misquoted, or because he said the guy came after him. Well, is he calling Shaka Smart a liar now? Self-calling Smart?
You
Good
got
stuff.
to ditch the Hawaiian shirts at that turn.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, you got to ditch the
So you
Hawaiian
do
shirts.
watch it. So you do watch it.
No, you just all you had to do because they give the Hawaiian shirts. Self
To
has
the-
got that Hawaiian shirt from a coach last year, and he's going to give it to somebody when they
Well,
the team
and the
that
whole-
goes next year.
but the
they
whole
don't
sta-
wear
but-
those shirts anywhere
But the whole
else.
staff wears them. They give them. They
Well,
give them
and,
to
and
them.
they give them to the whole staff,
give
which
them to
I'm
the
in the
staff.
Which
next
is like
year.
24 people.
It's just
I mean,
passing
you
them
look in the
along.
bench,
Yeah.
and some of you guys, Coach, how can you give that much responsibility to all those people?
So in the other semifinal there, Purdue, Tennessee, which is a great game because Tennessee gets after you, get in your face.
They can't score.
78 free
Rick Barnes
throws.
still coach there?
Yes.
Yeah, Rick
They'll
Barnes.
never win. Okay.
78 free throws in that game.
78?
free throws. And Zach Edey made most of his. But they only won by, Kansas won by like 4. Purdue won by like 4.
Tennessee plays really good defense, but for some reason they just can't score. And Rick Barnes, I agree with you. I don't think they'll ever be.
They'll never win anything.
I just.
Well, wait a minute.
They always have good teams, but
yeah, that'd be
they
good.
never can get to the final.
Well, I don't want
eight
to
or
throw
the
Rick
Final
Barnes
Four.
under the bus
I do.
because
anytime.
Wednesday night, Tennessee plays at North Carolina. So I don't know.
Let's throw North Carolina to the bus. North Carolina bus plays Villanova
Wait a minute.
in your tournament that you're at,
And I'm there.
and they got Moore who gets the ball on the block, and they play NBA basketball where he just backs people in. He scores 32.
No, one more. It was the other guy. Keep going.
Okay.
On, keep going.
Well, they get the ball on the block. And he basically plays NBA basketball. He backs the guy in, uses obviously the backboard, taking 2 and 3 foot shots. North Carolina never doubles up on him, never double teams and make him kick it back out. They let him go play 1-on-1, and he has his career game. It was amazing. I mean, in terms of
It was Eric Dixon, who's like 6'8" and a built like a football player. He was backing us all down.
Correct, all
he
day
got
long.
36.
Right.
He got 36.
So
and
why are
I'm-
we
I'm
doubling
sitting
up?
there
Why are
and
we
I'm sitting,
doubling up?
Well, and the thing is, I asked Hubert Davis after the game. I said, Penn, University of Pennsylvania, in a Big 5 game a week before, beat Villanova.
Right.
Playing a zone most of the game,
Maybe
and they
beat
don't
you
let
for
them. They don't let them play that bully ball and body down. And we just got killed. And we kept putting guys on this guy Dixon, and he just destroyed us.
But why
He
did he
got
double? Did
36.
you ask him why he didn't double down on him?
Well, double down is another thing. He gave some answer. He said, "Well, Villanova can score in so many ways." Well, duh.
Well, I'd rather have you beat me from the outside than beat you
and they're
from
not
on
great
the
shooters
block.
from the outside, though.
They're
No.
not- they're not very good shooters.
no.
That's why you said they lost a pen against the zone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but Curry, they also had a chance.
Well, they had a chance.
And Ryan was at the foul line, and he bangs it off. He's got to hit the rim.
Cormac Ryan, our transfer.
Well,
And he
did he not
transferred-
know that rule?
He played at Stanford and he played at Notre Dame.
That's two pretty good academic schools. He
Academics,
should be
because I think he outsmarted himself. That's what I'm saying. He has too much education. But no, I think Cormac Ryan was trying to hit the rim. He smashed it off the backboard.
5 feet over the rim.
Well, it was that high. He did, but if you hit it 5 feet off the backboard, maybe it'll come down and hit the
He
rim.
won't do
No?
that against
Well,
Duke.
here's what I'm going to tell you what we did in high school. This is high school,
Yeah.
which I don't have half the sense of their coaching staff. As soon as we practice this, as soon as the referee bounces the ball to the shooter, he catches it and shoots it. So people aren't ready to step in the lane. You usually go through a routine,
Yeah,
2 or 3 bounces.
Yeah, but
and
he
shoot
has
it.
two shots. He had 2 shots. He made the first one.
Right.
So
So
you're saying
on the second one, as the ball is bounced, the official bounces you the ball. As soon as you catch it, you shoot it. Boom. And you guys step.
But you shoot it to hit the rim.
Of course.
Right,
Of course.
yeah.
But we're teaching high school
Coaching,
kids
yeah.
to do that.
Coaching.
Why
Our
are we,
friends-
why
this
are we
is good.
teaching
Our friend,
college guys?
our friend, another Hall of Fame coach, Jerry Faulkner. Our friend called me after the game, and he just said on the phone. He said, "Curry, the rim. We learn in 5th grade to hit the rim."
Exactly.
And Cormac Ryan didn't hit the rim, and he got hurt on the play as well.
That's right.
So he wasn't, and we lost in overtime. On that play, but he couldn't play. I don't know if he's going to be okay this week, but he couldn't play the next game against Arkansas.
But you had a nice win.
But you
there.
don't mention Arkansas.
But you had a nice win.
We beat Arkansas 15.
That's another team that's underrated. I mean, not overrated.
You think they're overrated?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they're usually not good early in the season, and he builds. He's a terrific coach.
Yeah,
I
he's a
think.
good coach.
I think we're talking about who
Eric Musselman?
Eric
Yep.
Musselman. Yeah.
Yeah, he is good.
Well, I talked to him after. I'm so old. I did a story on his father.
Sure.
When his father was in the CBA coaching Reno, the Reno Longhorns or whatever they were. I did a story in the CBA and told him
Dad
that.
coached everywhere.
I told him that in Bahamas, and he said, "Oh, I know you."
I know you. Well, speaking of I know you, this is where I wanted to get to this. We haven't done the show in a
I'm
couple of
not
weeks.
doing night now.
Yeah, you
Come
got
on,
you
not
got to say
now.
something. Come
No,
on,
not now.
Bob Knight.
One story.
Bob
story,
Knight and
Bobby
Curry
Knight.
Kirkpatrick go way back.
Give one story, Curry.
The love affair between these two guys is legendary.
It was
Really?
love-hate. I mean, he threw me out
He
of
loved to hate you.
practices.
Yeah.
He threw me out of press conferences. I remember he beat Ohio State for the Big Ten championship on a Sunday afternoon. I was on deadline, and I was out in the court, and I was writing my story, but I had to go back and get a quote. So I went back, and Knight is giving his press conference in this big classroom. And I walked in, all these TV cameras and microphones Knight had. And he saw me, and he said, "Kirkpatrick, what are you doing here?" And I sort of blabbered something. "Well, I'm covering." And he said, "I am not doing this press conference is over unless Kirkpatrick leaves." So I said something witty, like, for my friends and companions here in the press room, I'll leave, or something like that. But yeah, it was a love-hate thing. And the first time I did a story on him, he threw me out of first practice because I was talking to Quinn Buckner, one of his great players, who I knew from previously. And Knight said, you can't talk to my players at practice. I was way down, and Knight came in with some of his buddies, some of his cronies from Bloomington, and he saw me and he said, "Kirkpatrick, told you not to talk to my players. Get out of here." And then I went back to the hotel. I had no story. And he had a good friend who was an editor at Sports Illustrated, and the editor called me and said, "I understand you had a problem with Bobby." And I said, "Yeah, I have a problem. I'm packing my bags." He said, No, stay there. Bobby's going to come over and take you out to dinner." And sure enough, he came over, took me out to dinner, and that was the first story he did. So he throws, he did all this. I gave you that book I got.
I was going to tell you,
yeah.
tell Bob about that book you have.
I got a book in the mail, and it says, Everything I Know About College Basketball by Curry Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
And I opened the book, and Bobby Knight and Al McGuire had signed it. And Bobby Knight had said in the signature, he said, "Curry, now I understand you a lot better." And of course, I opened the book and it was all blank pages. So
I want one of those books.
All right. last person you can throw under the bus today. Let's get it done. Go for it. Who are you throwing under the bus?
I'm going to throw in the Texas. I'm going to go back to
Yeah.
football,
Yeah.
college football. The Texas Tech coach, Jimmy McGuire.
Okay.
No relation to Jerry Maguire. Show me the
Or
money.
Al
Show me the
or
money.
Mark or
Jimmy
any of the
didn't show.
Maguires. Yeah.
You know, Jimmy was feeling himself last year when he upset Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And after the game, I remember he said in the locker room, he said, "America's going to know all about us. Everything passes through Lubbock." Jimmy McGuire said this. Now this is last year. Now this year he said when Texas went to the SEC, he kind of mocked Texas out, and he said, "Well, I don't know if they're blue buds. They probably are good in a lot of Olympic sports." Well, Texas, so in the rematch, Texas puts 57-7 on him. So they sprinted past him, pole vaulted past him, synchronized swimming past him.
The whole bit.
Yeah, the whole bit. And you know, so
You think that quote was on the blackboard
Jimmy
when they
McGuire's my
walked in
guy.
there?
Yeah,
I bet they used it.
I bet they
used it
they
for
did.
sure.
Who are you throwing under the bus, Rich?
He's not going to like this. Herbert Davis.
Okay.
For not double teaming. Come on, the guy stood 36 points. They lost in overtime. Double
killing
team
me.
the guy. Make them beat you from the outside. Make him give up the ball. The guy was just backing people down. You got to do that. Come on, Curry.
Boy, when Nova loses, the next time Nova loses,
Nova's gonna
and
lose.
Nova beat Memphis in the finals, but we didn't mention that.
Right.
And Memphis didn't back him, didn't play him zone either. You know, Nova was up on Memphis like 30-6. I mean, it was a championship game.
I know, but every game, there's different matchups in every game. You can't compare scores and things. There's different matchups. They had an opportunity to double team him and make him give the ball up. You don't let a guy go off for 36 points and not do anything defensively to defend that.
I think I'm going to throw under the bus anybody that loses to Tiger this weekend in the Bahamas. These are some of the best
You know
players
that-
in the world.
you know, he's in the-
It's a big money tournament.
You know,
Tiger's finally going to play. Everybody's Tiger. Anybody that doesn't beat him should get thrown under the bus.
That's
You're
for sure.
cruel.
He's not
You are
ready.
cruel. He
Come
can't
on.
play golf anymore.
Well,
he'll be okay.
but-
That tournament's in the Bahamas, by the way. So
You
I
should have
left.
been there.
and
I thought you were
left
going to
and-
caddy for him.
I,
Because Joe LaCava's gone. You know, he's got a buddy caddying for him.
And LaCava's
He's got a
going to get
sign
in the
out
fight.
saying "Need caddy."
Yeah, yeah.
So,
so I left, and Tiger came. We sort of crossed paths.
You should have stayed. You could have hung
You're
out
in
with
more
him.
halls of fame than he is.
Yeah, you could have hung
No,
out
I
with
don't
him.
think so. Can I go back
Yes.
one more time?
One more time.
Jimmy McGuire.
Yes.
Because his line about everything passes through Lubbock. I've been to Lubbock.
And
Texas.
everything passes and they keep on going, right?
They never stop.
The only thing that passes through Lubbock is the massive love affair with Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Buddy Holly's from Lubbock, the Buddy Holly
Oh, is
Hall of
that
Fame,
right?
which I've been there. Buddy Holly's home, I've been there. And, you know, that'll be the day when McGuire shuts up. You get that?
I got
When
it.
McGuire shuts up, that'll be the day.
I got it.
And Texas, meanwhile, not fade away. See what I did there?
we go.
Yeah, it's very
Texas,
good.
Texas might go into the Final
could.
Four.
Credits.
They could.
Win this week.
The credits are rolling. We want to thank Justin Jarrett. We want to thank Mahogany and Trey. And we invite you to
That's
join us
two people, by the
next
way.
time. Yes. When
Mahogany and Trey are two separate people.
we might throw them under the bus.
Right, exactly.